Kia ora, this program is brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Wellington Access Radio, make your voice heard.
Kia ora everybody, you are listening to Voice of Aroha on frequency 106.1 FM from Wellington, New Zealand. The show is sponsored by Host International NZ and is broadcasting on Wellington Access Radio. Joining me in the studio today are my co-hosts Luis, Beth, Audrian, Juan, Michael, and our lovely guest Martine. Hi everybody.
Hello. Hi, hello.
This is our first time recording on Zoom, so we apologize for any inconveniences already and the change in quality of sound. We'll be testing this out along with you guys, so hopefully all goes smoothly.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to introduce Martin today. I just want to welcome Martin to the show. Welcome to the Voice of Aroha. And I just want you to introduce yourself, like tell us your background, where you came from, and whatever you want to tell us today.
Sure. How is everyone? I'm really, really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Also my first interview on Zoom, so I hope this will be okay. So my full name is Martine Udahemuka. I was born in Rwanda, which is a small little country in Central Africa, and left Rwanda in 1994 during the genocide and war that was happening there. Fled to Kenya, again in Africa, stayed there for 2 years, and then we landed here in New Zealand in 1996 and lived in Palmerston North. My parents are still there, but I'm currently based in Wellington, working in Wellington, and have been here for quite a while. So I'm very happy to be with you guys.
How old were you when you had to leave?
You're trying to calculate my age now.
No.
Now everybody's going to know.
No, just depending on when you left. I just want to know,
God.
if you still remember, how vivid are those experiences, and how do you still have to deal with that kind of what you saw and that trauma still?
Absolutely. So I turned 11 during the war. I was laughing recently because this is the second time I've been in lockdown, and I'm probably going to turn my next age in lockdown in New Zealand, which is a different experience. It's a better experience than I did when I turned 11 in lockdown in Rwanda. So I was 11, which is, I guess, an age, where you're quite aware of everything that's going on. I'm also the second oldest in my family. We have 5 kids. My elder brother has special needs, and then I had 3 younger sisters. So I immediately had to probably grow up much faster than a normal 11-year-old would have to. And yeah, I live my life at the moment. A lot of the choices I think I make have to do with what I experienced at that age. And even though we are here in New Zealand, it doesn't feel like it's actually finished. You've kind of left your family, the ones that survived, you no longer have here. You now have, a lot of family members that you haven't seen for a very long time and speak different languages. And, so it's something that I live with since then. It's kind of shaped my life completely. And I have nightmares about the war still, as do my young sisters as well. So, yeah, I think I was old enough to know what was happening. Yes.
Well, you are not the only one to have a birthday during the quarantine, because mine is next Sunday.
Oh, nice!
So welcome to the club.
Cool.
Question.
Enjoy.
I just got a quick question about your memories. What was the first memory when you got to New Zealand? What could you remember about it?
I remember that it was really, really cold. So again, coming from Africa, actually moving to Kenya, I found Kenya colder than Rwanda. But then coming to New Zealand, I hadn't actually appreciated that other places of the world can be this cold. I remember the journey coming to New Zealand. So it took about 3 days for us to get here. And we also traveled with my late grandmother, who was quite elderly at the time and quite sick. So I remember that journey being quite challenging. but also I was quite curious about what it was going to be like. I remember the really lovely people on the plane, the air hostesses on Air New Zealand were really, really lovely. And also, of course, I remember the volunteers that helped us once we actually got into Palmerston North.
That's just
and also not being sorry, go on.
No, go on.
So I also remember not being able to understand 90% of the things that people were saying to me because I didn't speak English. So that was also interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. One of my first memories coming in here too in Auckland Airport was also meeting our sponsors. And I literally have this like vivid image of like just going and just sitting down on the floor in front of them, like just very like wondering like, who are these people? Why are they here? I didn't understand what they were saying. But
it's those first few people that you meet, right? They they have an impact on you. I think for me, our volunteers had a huge impact on us, and the way they kind of set our houses up. So, I mean, I think quite a few of you on the program would know that when you first come here as a refugee, you stay in Mangere for 6 weeks, which is the refugee resettlement. What is it called? Welcoming center or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It's been a while. But so you stay there for 6 weeks, and for 6 weeks, what was actually interesting for me as well is that it was the first time I was meeting a few other people from African countries like Somalia. I had never met anybody from Somalia. I met people from Ethiopia, and and suddenly I could tell I was African. Suddenly I started identifying myself as an African. But because I've been in Africa all this time, I've never had to really identify myself as anyone,
Yeah.
And I was, those are from Africa too. It's a Somali, and so it was quite interesting. I kind of got to learn a little bit about Africa in New Zealand, and New Zealand at the same time as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the sponsors, we had a very special relationship with them. I think when I was like comparing with my friends, they just had them like the standard amount of time that your sponsor had to stay with you. But our relationship like grew into family with our sponsors. They're the ones that like stayed with us through everything. We were there at their weddings when they had their first kids. I mean, up to like just a few years ago is when we kind of lost contact.
Right.
But they really did shape like our experience here and make everything so much easier. And because we came with a few other Iraqi families, they made sure to always put us together and always make sure we have like these outings together and always bond. And I think that really did shape like my experience here.
Exactly. I hear you. We were the first Rwandan family to come to New Zealand, so we didn't have any other people from Rwanda they could put us with, but they kept in touch and they were really, really good. I agree with you. Yeah.
We are so glad to have you here in New Zealand, Martin.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you. And because we know, and I personally know how much you're active, doing a lot of things in the community and also supporting the government jobs and other things you do. So can you tell us like now what are your profession, and also we have heard that you have invited your founder of the initiative called it Link. So if we talk about that, it will be nice.
Yeah, sure. So I currently work part-time in public policy. So I work 4 days a week, and I made a decision to work part-time about a year and a half ago because I wanted to keep one day during the week where I can actually focus on doing good. And that meant doing the stuff that's like really, really close to my heart, and it's obviously stuff to do with the new Kiwis or the former refugee community. Because I'd found that working full time, I was always so exhausted and I really couldn't give it the time that I wanted it to give to it. But then I really couldn't do it full time because there's no money. I couldn't get paid to do it. So so now I on Fridays I actually focus a lot on figuring out where best I can help in that sector. Of recent, I guess I can talk about the two initiatives that I've recently launched. So I launched them last year on World Refugee Day, and Kodri, and you were there and supported me, and our other colleague in here. Yeah. So the first one is called the Learn and Innovate with New Kiwis. So that's Link, and it's I guess it's an opportunity to bring people from the former refugee community together with established communities, so I would say non-former refugees, who are willing to spend some time with this new community to co-design and co-create some new ideas on, I guess, new ideas about solutions to tackle some of the challenges that we face here as new Kiwis. So things like finding meaningful employment, not just any employment. That's quite key, and it's quite close to my heart. Things about belonging and accessing healthcare in a way that kind of makes sense. Anything that the refugee communities themselves, I guess, identify as a challenge, and bringing them together to be the driver of their solutions to those challenges is very important for me. But also acknowledging that people in New Zealand who are not from that community but actually understand how New Zealand works and have the genuine empathy and skills and experiences about how the system works can actually really actually bringing those two groups together will actually make a huge difference in my view. So that was that happened last year, and people kind of get together and then create some, come up with ideas, they pitch to a judge and then to a few judges actually, and then the most promising idea kind of gets support to get off the ground. And then the other thing that I am working on is a mentorship program as well, and I think that's also driven by my own experience growing up here, is that I really would have loved to have someone from the get-go that could buddy with me, help me, work with me to achieve a lot of the goals that I've had in the past, but actually didn't really know where to start. So the mentorship program is called Mentorship, and it's about connecting a new Kiwi or a former refugee with somebody who also could be a former refugee or can be non-former refugee, who has the skills to help that person reach a specific goal within the next 12 months. Those are the two key things maybe I can talk about at the moment. Yeah.
I had a question about what you're doing at the moment, and I was just wondering, some studies have shown that due to climate change in the next 20 years or so, we're going to have an influx of refugees from the Pacific Islands.
Right.
Do you think that we're in a position to start to begin accepting those refugees? Like, has our infrastructure become, like, not including COVID or anything that's but like, do you think that we're heading in the right direction for these turbulent times in that regard?
I mean, I can't speak to like immigration policy and stuff like that, but what I can say is that I think what's really, really important is to make sure that we do have the right support, as you say, when people do arrive here in New Zealand. And I think if I just compare it with how it was when we came here about 25 years ago, things have really, really changed. And some part for the better and some part for the worse, I think. So I think there is a lot more awareness about different kinds of refugees, so like climate change refugees and stuff like that. So there's awareness that you can be a refugee for so many different reasons. But also I think that there is maybe a tendency for then people to act like we're too vulnerable, and people try to help us in a way that comes from a very like a I don't know what the word is. So it's not a strength-based approach, but a different, like the opposite of strength, like a
egocentric.
Egocentric in that sense, but also like from a position where people don't necessarily see us as like resilient, and we come with skills and experiences and all that kind of stuff, and you want to help us rather than you actually want to work with us so we can settle into New Zealand. Right. So I think there is a lot of opportunities of people trying to maybe like come up with all these new ideas and new businesses and all this kind of stuff, but from a very I feel like sometimes it's not necessarily the best way to approach stuff. I think it's always good to kind of figure out what it is that these groups need. But yeah, I think I mean, if I think New Zealand is in a position to help people that need help, because New Zealanders generally are such beautiful, like, people, like their souls. I have not met people who are just so open. Like I was saying, I'm so glad to be here during this COVID because everybody, like, it's amazing. You see governments coming together. You know, you see opposition people supporting current governments, and you see people just kind of joining together as one. Whereas I've come from backgrounds where you know, you talk about Rwanda, but it's so divided that you can't help yourselves, let alone help anyone. Whereas in New Zealand, you have this sense. I mean, you just have to look at the 15th of March events where they kind of brought New Zealanders together, and it kind of reminded us who we are as New Zealanders. And that's, I think, that's the infrastructure that we really need. It's actually people who are genuine and have a heart. You know, people like you who's helping this voice of Aroha. You know, so I think it's there. You just need the people first, the heart, and everything else I think will follow, really.
Cool, thank you.
Well, thanks for the comments, Martin. I just got a question going back to the mentorship program. So who is the target of the program? Are you targeting university students, high school students?
Sure. So it's 18 plus. Anyone who is over 18 can express their interest. But and the reason I say 18 is because, I mean, it's just for vetting purposes, I think, and just for safety. You just wouldn't want to open it for too many young people. But it's anyone who is who has a specific project or goal that they want to meet in the next 12 to achieve in the next 12 months. So it could be a student who wants to get an A or a B grade or whatever it is that they want to do in school. It could be anybody who wants to maybe get their driver's license. It could be somebody who wants to start a podcast or a radio station, but it has to be something very, very specific so that you can match skills better that way. And also you can actually start measuring success and outcomes and impact.
Yeah, and at the moment, how many people do you have in this program right now?
Sure. So at the moment, it's still in the development stage. So what I'm getting at the moment is getting expressions of interest. So, and at the end of this program, I can probably give you an email address. I think I've given it to Kodri and that people can write to. So I have so many people who actually want to mentor, a lot more. I found that it's easier to get. So when you talk to people in person, everybody kind of sounds excited. But then with regards to following through and sending expressions of interest, people who want to mentor, I have quite a lot of those people who are giving their skills and saying, hey, I'm ready and I want to help out as well. But with regards to former refugee community, what I've found is that they need a little bit more, some of them, I shouldn't generalize, need a little bit more help actually articulating what their project is, what it is that they want to do in the next 12 months. And so the next thing that I want to work out is some sort of like workshop or something to help that kind of articulation of the goals as well. So there's quite a lot of interest at the moment.
Now going to the numbers, economic of a scale, like how much are you targeting? What is the cost per person that you are kind of like estimating? How much is going to cost you per that is in the program for the person to be there for 12 months?
For 12 months? Oh, well, it doesn't, I mean, it costs me my time and I mean, even the two initiatives I talked about, I paid for everything out of my own pocket. I haven't yet registered the charities yet. I was actually meant to do it this month and all this kind of things have happened. So it's kind of slowed me down a little bit. But everything I've done up to now, it's out of my own pocket. Or actually, I had to chase a lot of people last year and kind of see if I can get corporate sponsorship and things like that. And people were quite generous, giving me venues and facilitation and stuff like that. But at the moment, I just pay it for myself. But with regards to mentorship, there isn't really that much cost per se, because all you have to do is, so it's kind of like Tinder but for good purposes, right? So you get people express their interest to say, I have this goal, and then I have a list of mentors who also have said, I can help people in this and this and this and this and this. And then you just kind of do the matching, and then you put those people together, and then they go away, and just like a normal mentorship, I think, relationship. What I do want to put in place is like a quite robust, I wouldn't want to call it accountability mechanism, but it's more like a reporting mechanism to kind of make sure that those people are actually really, really supported and that things are going as well as they had wanted for both the mentor and the mentee, because there's a giving of each, right? Money-wise, I don't think there's that much money that's needed at the moment. It's more the time and the willingness of people to do it.
Cool.
And my time as well to actually do all the matching and the setting up the infrastructure and all of that kind of stuff, and websites, and yeah.
And how are people able to access mentorship programs in the circumstances that we are right now?
And start again, sorry?
How are people able to access mentorship programs in the circumstances that we are right now?
Yeah, so it's just through the expression of interest at the moment. So I am, as I said, I'm still in the initial development stage for this mentorship program. So it's through the expression of interest, and then I have to figure out what kind of goal that person wants to achieve in the next 12 months, and then figure out who I have on the books with those kind of skills. And if that's not the case, like say if somebody, my goal is that if somebody says I want to, like for example, I want to start a radio station, and then actually the mentors that I've got I can't see anyone who has any of those skills, or they haven't articulated those skills. I can go back to those mentors and say to them, hey, I've got somebody who wants to start a radio station. Do any of you guys have the skills, and can you help this person? If not, I'm not shy at all to go on places like LinkedIn, for example, to look for people, so I can like promote that the mentorship program, and also the skills that I'm looking for through different social platforms as well.
And is this mentorship program also included all people across New Zealand, or our communities across the country, or just in Wellington?
It can be anywhere. So my dream is that it's actually a global it becomes a global platform. So in what I would want it to be at some point is that it's like an online platform, and people can actually do their own matching themselves. So I'll put everybody's skills and everybody's goals up on a website, and people can do their own matching, and that can be globally as well, because right now, like we're doing, you can do mentorship via Zoom, you can do mentorship via emails, all that kind of stuff. So that's my goal, that there is no border. But when I was trying to actually develop that website, I was advised to first make sure that we have the right, the demand is there, and that the actual program and the structure works before we actually start, spending money on things like a website. Because I think initially I had wanted to, for example, develop an app that looked like Tinder, and people do their own matching and stuff like that. And then I was advised, actually, people too often run to technology as if it's a solution. So my goal now is actually to make sure that we have just a few people pilot this, make sure that we've got the right structure, the right support in place for the people, and then we can always open it up to online and things like that. But people can mentor from anywhere. You can have a mentor. I mean, one thing I've always dreamed about is about somebody from like here mentoring a person in a refugee camp in Asia or in Kenya. It could be that. I would love it to be that open, like mentoring without any kind of borders as well. But yeah.
That's really great, Martin. I just want to ask you a question, like, how acceptable is mentorship idea with the former refugee backgrounds people?
Really good, I think. That's how, a lot of times I talk to people, my own experience, my own family, the people that I have in my close network before I actually start anything. So that's why I came up with it, was because I could see there was a lot of interest in that. But like as I was saying, what I'm finding hard is actually getting to that next step of people writing and putting in an expression of interest, So I've had, for example, someone write to me and say, oh, I don't really know what to say. I want a mentor, but I don't really know what else to say. And that was the email they sent to me. And then I had someone else who said, oh, I'm not sure who this is actually, if this kind of fits what I'm after, or, so I've had a lot of questions. And that's what I was saying. I'm trying to think about a way of helping people articulate their goals. And I think it's because sometimes people think that their goal is too small, and I want to actually make sure that people know that no goal is too small. Whatever it is that you think, because I use mentors a lot, like now, even with the studying the mentorship, even with doing the link, I use mentors, and literally I get these mentors from LinkedIn. I would just go on LinkedIn and say, somebody help me please to do this. But it took me a very long time to be able to, one, open up about my own goals, my dreams and projects, and also to be able to define what they look like for the next 12 months. So so that's the next step, as I was saying, is I've got a group of former refugees that have already written in, and I want to be able to develop some sort of workshop for them, which might be through Zoom now, to help them articulate that. And I've got a few people who have also shown interest in helping me to facilitate these workshops as well, because while I have the idea, I'm not, I can't do everything. I'm not a facilitator by training. I'm not, I'm just somebody who's trying to bring people together in a way that kind of makes sense to me and hopefully will help people. But I need help as well. So that's the next stage.
Did you want to go, Louise? I just go. I love this mentorship idea. I really hope it goes super well. I think I'm interested in being a mentee and a mentor.
Yes.
But I also want to talk about Link, because I absolutely love that. I came to your workshop last year for World Refugee Day.
Yeah.
And I haven't been to a lot of workshops like that. And actually, Beth was the one who encouraged me the night before. Yeah. It's just like, I don't know if it was like at 6 a.m. or the night before. She was like, hey, there's this, like, should we go?
So good.
And it was so amazing. We were around so many inspiring people, and we all just synced and clicked very, very well. And we were able to, it was a very nice, safe and encouraging space where we came up with like ideas that I hadn't even thought of before. Right, and we just planned that, and we it was a very creative way, a way that we were able to bond. And it was very, I think this all came full circle, because Beth and I also met Cordrian there, and that's when he also first suggested the idea of like a radio show. And we started like following up after that, and after that I actually started attending more workshops and getting more involved. And I just wanted to know how, in your mind, like how did you like envision Link to be, and now how have you seen it like progress throughout time, and especially with people's like smaller initiatives?
Sure. It was so lovely to see you all there. It was great. I have a really, really beautiful picture of you, so I must send it to you after this. So honestly, it took me years to actually finally do this, and that's why I'm so sure that mentorship works, because up until I got mentors who pushed me and held me accountable, I kept giving myself excuses, right? So I was like, I can't do this. I can't facilitate. I don't have money. And I was giving myself all these kind of excuses. And then I started telling people about it, because I used to kind of write it down, say it to myself, and, it's my goal and stuff. And then I started opening up. And so the first thing I did is go on LinkedIn and say, guys, I don't know everything, but I need help. I have this idea that I've had for a long time. Can I please get some help? And I had more than 20 people actually email me, even from like abroad, to say, we can help you. Let's meet, let's talk, and then we'll help you, So, and so I did that, got mentors to help me with it. And then I had also, what I did is I wanted to also mentor somebody while I was planning the Hui. So I got Noella. I don't know if you remember her there. She was there as well. And I said to her, let's work together. We met every Sunday, sat down, had a scrapbook. And then, so I was mentoring her to, for that project as well. But it meant that I was accountable to someone, and I couldn't let her down, and I couldn't let the people that were mentoring me down as well. And then honestly, a few weeks before, I was freaking out that I wasn't going to have enough people, to the point that my parents ended up turning up to support me because it's that kind of thing. It was like, you're just putting something out there and you don't know how people are going to take it, even though when you tell them in person, they sound like they're interested. It's about actually turning up. And maybe about 3 days before, I had to cap the numbers because I had too many people. They were interested. So I had to cap them. And then so many things happened. And I think, the 15th of March happened. Actually, that was my first meeting. I was meeting with a few actually Muslims that day. And quite a few of them didn't turn up because of what had happened. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm meant to be doing this. Like this is meant to be. And so when I started approaching some organizations actually and saying, I don't have any money, can you help me facilitate? Like Think Place help me facilitate. They say to me, you've given us a gift. We've been looking for something to do to respond to the 15th of March, and you've just given us a gift. And I contacted Messi University. They gave me the venue and they said, this is how we want to help refugees, you know? So it kind of motivated me to carry on. And great energy, as you said, amazing energy. People were so energized and really like I loved that it was like different ages as well, you know, like in different kind of backgrounds. People were working or retired, people were journalists or economists and all this kind of stuff. So honestly, I'm still like, every time I think about it, I'm like, I can't believe that happened. It was really great. And it's because of the people. It's really because of the people. What I've been doing at the moment is actually working with a group that won the I would call it the challenge, I guess. So it was called the Loop. So I've been working with those young girls as well to figure out how to take it to the next step. That bit will probably need some money, so which is why I need to actually register link so that I can actually apply for grants. Because initially I was thinking, oh, once you start getting money and stuff, you've got someone else to report to, but I actually don't think I can do it myself. So I've been working with those girls, and they've just, they just kind of report back and say this is how we're going. They're excited. I've had them at the house, and we're supposed to be reporting back to you guys in June. I was also meant to be planning the next event because I want to have it on every World Refugee Day, and now I'm rethinking about how I'm going to do that given the context that we're in. But I've got a few ideas of how I want to bring everybody back, even if it's virtually or something that we just keep it alive. I've also had people from outside of Wellington ask us to do it in like Dunedin and Auckland, for example, at some point. But again, it's just me usually doing it myself. So it's about just kind of pacing myself and making sure that I don't give up because it's too much. But I mean, I'm supported by people that turn up, and that's what keeps me going. So.
I mean, if you need any volunteers, I'm here to help as well.
Yes, thank you, Louis.
Number two.
Hey, number three.
Thank you.
You're just amazing, and I just want to say, like, just feel like encouraged by your testimony and the things that you have been through, and now that you are doing this mentorship program, which I feel like is quite important. It's quite important.
Thank you.
Actually, everyone needs a mentor, and it's kind of like a hero in their lives and someone to look after and say, like, I want to be like this person. And I feel like this mentorship could be actually a good idea if we don't have like a volunteer, but have a mentor when we arrive to the country. So that could be. So
I completely agree with you. Yes, we needed a buddy. I think right from the start, as soon as we land, I think you need someone, and you need someone that, like, the reason I've kind of talked about this is like, I think if I had a mentor that was similar to my age or something, and my parents had someone similar but who had similar interests and all that kind of stuff, I think would have gotten so much further, so I completely agree with you, Louis.
Yeah, I definitely think having available mentees of different ages would have been so much more helpful, because I think especially us kids who came with our parents, we kind of were our parents' mentors, especially with the language and helping them access facilities. And it would have been a lot more healthy for our well-being and theirs for us to each have our own separate mentors who would have like eased us into integrating into a whole different society.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Yeah.
It's really interesting conversation. It's really, I'm enjoying it because, we were there and have met Beth and not just there. So, Martin, what other steps like after you're trying now to develop all this mentorship program? What will be the future? How you are looking to make it a broader program? Any connections with other organizations, or how do you see other people can help, or how they can help you or joining this initiative?
That's a very good question. I have to learn to delegate better, and I tend to take on too many things myself, but I think I do get overwhelmed, so I definitely do need help. I need people. I would love to connect with people who understand my vision, and can help me actually get this off the ground. So, for example, one of the reasons I've been delaying to register my like social initiative as like a charitable trust is because I couldn't work out who to put as a trustee, for example, because I want to make sure that I've got the right people supporting me, pushing me, behind me, and stuff like that. So if anybody out there is listening and you guys who are interviewing me are keen to have a chat, I would love to. I'm interested in people just giving me ideas, how best to make sure that this actually works. I suffer from like perfectionism, which is another word for procrastination, I think, because I always think I want to make it perfect to make sure that it works so well, and then sometimes I paralyze myself, I think. But I know that it's going to be a great thing once it's out there. So I guess the next thing I need is people, for example, I need somebody who can help me do our website. Like a very, very simple website that people can actually go to. So for Link, I ended up doing my own website, but I've realized that there are some things I don't understand in that space. So it would have been nice to have somebody who already understands it and can maybe help me through that. And when it comes to when things are breaking, I have no idea where to start. So I need someone who can help me have a very simple website, and I can point to people and say, this is what mentorship is about, and this is how you actually log in. Because at the moment I'm just doing it all through email. So I've managed to set up a new email address for that, which is good. But I'm doing it through email, through it's a lot of manual work because I don't understand those really simple infrastructures, because I don't have that background. And also obviously grants and funding. So that's always useful. Right. Yeah. Always useful. But also people who will mentor, very, very important. People who are wanting to join, express the interest, and there is no skill that's too small. So people to join, people who want to be mentored. So this is for people who are have come here as former refugees. It doesn't matter how long they've been in New Zealand. So it could be somebody like me who's been here for 25 years but wants a mentor to help them set up a mentorship program, for example. So it can be as that, or it can be as simple as, I don't know, someone wants to learn how to. I don't know. Yeah, it's a very specific goal, right? So it can't be as somebody who wants to learn English, because there's a lot of services doing that already, right? And it's not a goal that you can be like at the end of 12 months, I have finished learning English. I haven't finished learning English, and I've been here for so long. So,
that's right.
Yeah. So people who can support me will be great. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Michael. I think we'll have 3 minutes left. So your question.
Yeah, sorry I didn't put my hand up. I just got too into it. I was just wanting to confirm it was like the mentorship was for people who already had goals in mind to give to their mentors, as opposed from going to the mentorship and being like, I don't have any goals, direct me.
Right. Okay. So exactly that's the difference between my mentorship and maybe in other ones, is that I want people who already have a goal. Because I feel I want something that's structured, something that's tangible in a sense. Because I think there are already a lot of other mentorship programs and other kind of friendship circles that are available for that other reason, I think.
And by goals, you're talking about life goals, like not something small like learning how to read really fast or something like that, but more like something really long distance, or is it both?
I think it's do you have something that you would like to achieve in the next 12 months and want someone to hold you accountable, that kind of thing. So it can be, I mean, if like there is a former refugee who I would love to learn how to read really fast, I would love that. But I suspect that people will probably, I mean, just from the kind of community we're talking about, I suspect it will probably be something to do with maybe education. It might be something to do with employment, like, gaining meaningful employment. It might be those kind of things. It might be starting, like, as I keep giving an example, of starting a radio station, or starting a mentorship program, or starting an initiative, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's kind of or becoming a medical doctor, for example. Like, so actually getting into medical school could be something that somebody wants to do in 12 months. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really great to talk to you, Martin. So we are coming to our last minute. So if you have anything to share with our audience who are listening now, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people are listening, they will come to contact you about the website and things, because I know myself there is a company who are from former refugee backgrounds who have IT. They are specialized in IT. So I will
Oh,
contact
nice.
them so they can
Thank you,
contact you.
Kodrian. Thank you, yes, sir. If anyone is listening, please get in touch. Help me so I can help people.
Great. Team, any comments you have for Martin?
What's the best way to contact you again?
So it's by email. I have sent it to Kodrian. I can.
Yeah, we will share it on our social media also.
Is that probably the best? Okay.
Yeah. So and if you also if you spell the email, maybe the audience who is not access to the social media can have writing down the email.
So the program is called Mentorship. The email address is info at mentorship.co.nz. That's info@mentorship.co.nz.
So we will now go for a break and come back. Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you,
Martin.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
See ya.
Just relax. Kuko hari byinshi bituma nkusarira. Nabaye stuck. Ubi wawe sinaharenga. Wakanze stop. Mitamfungira feri wawe. Mwamikazi wa style. Chuhindura position. Komeza unyemese. Sounds like a profession. Nama fresh. Murura fresh. Nyegera fresh. Mubiri kundi fresh. Nama fresh. Nyegera fresh. Murura fresh. Mubiri kundi fresh. Mubura kuyoboye nesha. Uri hiti kurusha basley. Afite imbere, afite inyuma, ni za saizi. Ku kibero, ni kimero, ayoboye nesha. Yeah, go mama, ndebera uko ateye. Go share, yeah, go mama, I'm stuck on you. For the sake of your love, I'll never leave you alone. For the sake of your love, I'll never leave you alone.
So welcome back, guys. That was a great discussion with Martin. Thank you so much, Martin, for coming to our show. We'll continue talking about mentorship and what we know about it, what we think about it. So yeah, continue talking about it.
Yeah, that was really great discussions talking about mentorship. And I personally think it's something that's really needed when someone who, let's say in my case, when I'm traveling to a new country or a new place, even though you're traveling in a new neighborhood, you need someone to be in that neighborhood to lead you. Where is the nearest market? Where is the nearest things to do? So I think from my experience, having someone who being a mentor, so especially for young people to achieve their dreams, knowing the way, what's the right way and the right resource out there that can help them in their journey. So what do you think?
I guess like when you talk about a mentor, it's not a person to guide you in a foreign country. A mentor to me is more like a person that actually guides you towards a goal and actually helps you.
So that still is a person as a guide you toward the goal.
Yeah, but a mentor is more like towards the goal rather than like guide you around a foreign country. That's what I think. Anyway, so mentor to me, it's a person that
go ahead.
And actually helps you towards the goal that you have in mind. And if you don't actually can articulate the goal, the mentor can actually talk about it and say like, what do you want? How do you want to do it? and why do you want to do it? And having those basic questions can actually help you to figure out what you want to achieve.
I think that kind of structure like exists in like school, like high school, and I think that like when you come out of high school, that structure is like suddenly gone, like that discipline. So I think it's really helpful that to start something that's gonna discipline you and like kind of like guide you and hold you accountable for like your goal that you set for yourself. So I think it's really helpful because I find that like once I came out of high school, that structure of that a teacher like coming to me and like, have you done your work, have you done your homework and stuff, no, that doesn't exist anymore. So I think this is really helpful for people that just come out of high school, that don't know what they want to do, that don't know what their goals are, or like don't know how to reach them. So I think it's a really cool structure.
So, me, in my opinion, I think this structure will be helpful for companies such as work and income, because in my opinion, I see that we have a lot of older people who can't speak the language, and but they try to communicate, and work and income is one of these companies who help the community. And I think that it would be helpful if they have people who can actually speak the language and can communicate with them, and to help them to achieve whatever they want to achieve.
I like your idea, Juan, because it's really important. So that's how we can call it, and whatever you name it, this mentor, body, or volunteer, that person is necessary to be with that family or to be with that person, because here we start the relationship, and here we start, he will be the guiding to you, like this is the right reasons to learn your language, this is the way how you improve your language, and this is the right things, because the new one who came, any new person, he would love to, like, he would love to do many things, a lot of things. We have a lot of dreams we bring with us, but once we come here, we find some difficulties, and sometimes we don't know how to solve that difficulties, because it's a new things to us. We didn't used to that way. Because we before we think, oh, everything's easy there. We build that dreams. When we come here, we think it's easy to do it, but some stuff. So that mentor or that guy, that guide person or body person will be helpful.
Um, could you please say what is, I guess like we are just like misinterpreting of just kind of like confusing the terminologies. A volunteer and a mentor to me is kind of like two different people. Like a volunteer is someone that actually helps you doing whatever the person wants to help, but actually a volunteer is someone that's actually pushing you towards a goal and holds you accountable, which a volunteer doesn't.
The volunteer?
No,
volunteer.
The mentor.
Yeah, but I think the thing is with what this different kind of mentorship is kind of integrating both, where you have someone who's more in sync with you, who's more connected to you, or from the same background and understand what it is to be a refugee, to also to volunteer their time to mentor you and also show you around the same way, like for example a Red Cross volunteer would have. And I think that one would make more sense, because not every, like I think some of us had a very good experience with our volunteers when we first came here, but that wasn't always the case. And then your volunteer only has to be, I think, for 6 months or something like that. And they just show the essential things. I've met a volunteer who's like, hey, here's your, here's what you have to do to achieve, to get like, proper jobs, or to get the job that you want, or achieve the goal that you want. What a mentor can do is help, especially for our older generation, achieve what it is that they want, because I think we're a bit more lucky, still hard, but a lot more lucky, because we get to go through school and we have those like 10 whatever years in the presence of like a teacher and these people who are 24/7 guiding us, but our elder generation doesn't have that.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, I agree with you. It's well explained, Nargis. So that's the difference. And for me, Luis, well, the terms is not important. It's more than the actions for me and the other people. When you have someone who is elderly, he will not know what's the meaning of volunteer or mentor. I don't mean they don't know about it, but it's mean its purpose is there's a need there. So that need, how you solve that needs. You bring a volunteer, you bring a mentor, it depends. The volunteer, we understand it's for specific period, and that volunteer have specific task. So they don't do everything. They have social worker and other people who do other needs. But the mentor, we know that they lead in the goals. But in this case, when we are saying that guy, who could be whatever you name it, volunteer or guide, would be guide person or a mentor, from the beginning to be with the family of the person, because that family, they have their goals. So the first beginning goals is to speak the language. So that's the challenge, how we can do that, how we can achieve these goals. Second thing, okay, the proper house, how to find the housing and bills and all these issues. The volunteer, he will just show you, do this and do that. But that also, that person could be also like a first friendship relationship between that. So I think that for myself, I know there's a lot of need on that, and that's really important.
Yeah,
to put something together.
We've been hearing a lot about mentors recently. Seeing a lot of people talk about it, and I've become increasingly interested. But then this one is definitely, I think, a lot more catered to our background, and therefore would be a lot more helpful. So I'm super excited to see this come to light and see her project actually pan out.
Yeah. I think what Martin's program we see is more like target focus.
Yeah.
So the people for the projects. So I think it's a good way for students, anyone who's in their stage to graduate.
Yeah, especially with being held accountable. I think a lot of us need that, and as you said, we think I think I have the same thing where I'm so I'm very controlling. I think I want everything to be done perfectly. So therefore, as she said, it's just procrastination. You end up taking way longer than you need to end up doing the project or doing whatever it is that you really want. And having a mentor there to hold you accountable and to, give you these deadlines that you otherwise wouldn't have set for yourself would be super, super beneficial.
It's very interesting. One question for you all team. How much commitment you will be in this process if you have a mentor? How do you feel like if you have someone who's a mentor and he's pushing you toward your goals? How much commitment you can?
How much should there be?
Yeah, how much commitments or time? Yeah, how do you think it will work for you, Michael? Let's say if you have a mentor, so will you be committed to follow the process and to follow his points?
Oh yeah, if I commit 10 hours a week. Is that what you mean? 10 hours a week to do stuff? Depending if the goal is a primary objective or a secondary objective. If it's a primary objective, I probably don't donate 20 to 30 hours of it a week. But if it's a secondary thing, like learning the saxophone, then I'll probably put maybe 10 hours, 5 to 10 hours in it.
Yeah. Cool. And so how's everyone how do you like to work actually? Do you are you you would like to do your things by your own, or you would like to have a team working or someone else watching you work?
I think having a team definitely makes things a lot more fun and encouraging, and then you just bounce off each other's ideas. But that means obviously losing a lot more control and having to kind of, it's more of a democracy. It's not just your way or your vision. It's about seeing everybody's vision and seeing a meeting in the middle and creating what it is that you guys want to make. But yeah, I do think it's a lot more difficult to let go of what delegate, let other people do things instead of you because you want it done a certain way. But team's fun. Doing things alone, I don't see any fun in that.
Yeah, it's also people see blind spots. As much as you think you have things in control and you're on your own, people will actually that person will actually see things that you're not seeing, and it can be a lot quicker way for you to actually reach a place that you want to reach.
Yeah.
Just being stuck and doing it by yourself.
Yeah. And you get criticism. You get the criticism that you need instead of,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we are having the last minute. If anyone have a last comments, is the last minute for us?
I think we're obviously like in a place where we can't interact with people. Therefore, we're not going to obviously physically have any mentors. But I think we can definitely have that mindset of still wanting to work on ourselves and do things that's going to help us reach our goals. So I think we should have the same kind of like perspective while we're, dealing with the time right now.
Mm-hmm. It's great, Beth. Anyone else want to comment before we finish? Okay, that's why, guys, like really like I love team working. That's why, well, like every one of you, that's why Voice of Aroha is best because of you guys. Everyone is doing their part in the best way. So thank you so much, and we are coming to the end of this show. Thank you so much for listener. Everyone, we are doing this is the first show, our first episode's going by Zoom. Hopefully the sound will be great. We have Hamid, our sound engineer. He will do the best.
He'll fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and check out Facebook, everybody. We have created a new members platform where we made a group chat on Facebook. For anyone who's interested in being a member, we can share notices and volunteer opportunities and co-hosting opportunities on the show, and just to chat and stay connected while we are self-isolating. Doesn't mean you have to be socially isolating and being away from everybody. We can stay connected and work on our goals and our projects and just stay together. So check out our Facebook and become a member.
Yeah, we also have like different activities plans, panel discussion, and so many things. So stay tuned.
Yeah, a lot of more social media activity now that we're all at home.
Great. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
بغل قديو تفروني تومتا إيد دني سن منا بغن همنتا شوای من که دو قیوا دویرت شریبا مالو چی شوریوا من خود دروازه دشتار ایده بیده چوریوا مال برج رامد بدل کال چوف بیتی گشتیوا برجد بابل شفا تقی جشمه یسیقا کامل شفا اوجا به برجاتیقا کرمانو تلیه القارا قلتا وانی تبزیقا جو آسور چه خبری با ایلانی که نصری با رای خسیری جونن بی قبلی سنچی پخلی با یومد خدو تنیسان یومد خیرو تنیسان یومد نیسان ایدن ریشد شیطن نیسان
That program was brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Get your voice heard.
Thanks, New Zealand On Air, for supporting accessmedia.nz.